Right, here we go. Um, I don't know if how many of you know or how many of you are aware, but May is the Mental Health Awareness Month, and I've decided that obviously I want to try and help promote that. And the reasons being, and the reasons why I'm doing it today and not at the beginning of May, is because today is a very, very significant day in my calendar. On this date last year, May the 13th, 2016, I hit the lowest point in my life so far. I entered the darkest space in my life so far. I decided that the only answer to end that pain and to stop the darkness and everything else was to take my own life. So I took an overdose of beer, ibuprofen and paracetamol. Right, in the hope that I would just end up going to sleep and never waking up again, because then I would be at peace. I would not be hurting anymore. The pain would have gone away. It wasn't to be like that. I wasn't aware of the effects of a paracetamol overdose. I didn't realise that you don't go to sleep straight away. I didn't realise that if you didn't get the antidote to the paracetamol toxins in a paracetamol overdose within 24 hours of taking a paracetamol overdose, that you would die within 2 to 3 weeks. Firstly, of liver failure, then obviously it attacks the rest of your major organs. It causes internal bleeding, causes you to vomit continuously, and of course, because you've got major stomach cramps and the internal bleeding and everything else, you don't want to eat, you can't eat, because you're constantly vomiting as well. So you lose all your appetite, so you have nothing to bring up. You also lose control of your bowel movements, so you end up soiling yourself, defecating and urinating everywhere. And it also attacks your nervous system, so no matter what painkillers the doctors give you, it doesn't have any effect on you. So you're laying there for 2 to 3 weeks in abject agony, and any loved ones have to watch you go through this. There's nothing they can do. I was very, very lucky. My wife persuaded me. I took my final tablets at 17:20 hours on the Friday May the 13th. It took her until 10 o'clock the following morning, well 10:30 the following morning, to finally persuade me to see sense that I needed to seek medical help. So I eventually, on Saturday the 14th of May, decided that I needed to go and seek medical help, because I'd been drunk, obviously with all the beer and the paracetamols and the ibuprofen. I didn't want to waste paramedics' time, so I said, I don't want to be blue lighted. I don't want the paramedics to come out to me. It's not fair. There's more important people out there that need their attention than me. So I got my wife to drive me into A&E, which took quite a while because we had to stop on numerous occasions because I was still being sick. I was still vomiting. So I apologise to Birmingham City Council for soiling the streets with my vomit. It's not a nice thing to talk about, but it's what happens when you take an overdose of paracetamol. And then I spent the next 24 hours in a hospital bed, hooked up to the antidote, the paracetamol antidote, which thankfully I got in time. I got within about 8 hours of the 24-hour cut-off period. It took 3 bags of the antidote, right, to be entered into my system via an intravenous drip for for the doctors to get took 3 bags of the paracetamol antidote from the doctors to get into my system before the paracetamol toxins were at a safe enough level. Although the doctors did say to me that if that didn't work, they would have to administer a 4th bag, and then if that didn't work, there was nothing they could do. So that 24-hour period was a time of reflection, and it was a very worrying time for my wife, because obviously she didn't know whether I'd live or die. And to this day, I still can't forgive myself for the hurt that I caused her and the pain that I must have caused her, especially over that 24-hour period. So that is why mental health has become very important to me. I now suffer from depression, PTSD and suicidal ideation. So it has become very, very important to me now. And so this is why, one of the reasons why I want to raise the awareness of mental health and raise the awareness of suicide prevention, because I wasn't to know at the time, and I didn't know until later on that year in August, that suicide is the biggest killer of men in Britain. It's the biggest killer of men between the ages of 18 and 45, and at the time I was 45. I didn't realise at the time that it also killed 1 man every 2 hours. I know this because of a very special man, a very brave man, a man called Luke Hambler, who founded the Andy's Man Club and the It's Okay to Talk hashtag. And it was down to that hashtag, which I came across on Twitter, and starting to talk to Andy, not Andy, I do apologise, Andy's the name of his brother-in-law, who sadly took his own life last year, and that was the reason for Luke setting up the Andy's Man Club in his memory. But it was down to talking to Luke and finding these things out, which led me to realise that I didn't need to be ashamed of my suicide attempt, because up until that point I was hiding it. I wasn't telling anyone. I kept it a secret. It was a dirty little secret. I shouldn't talk about it. It's taboo. We don't talk about suicide. It's not the done thing. But when I came across the It's Okay to Talk hashtag and started talking to Luke, I realised that there's nothing to be ashamed of. Mental health isn't a shameful thing. That we should talk about it. We need to talk about it. We need to break the taboo. We need to break that stigma. And since then, I have come to terms with it. Not only Luke, but also there's a number of other people that have helped. There's a gentleman by the name of Kevin Hines, who attempted to take his own life as well by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. He is one of the few survivors of that. He told his story, which I've read very, very briefly on Twitter and Facebook, and he's now become a motivational speaker in America, and his story has inspired me as well. So thanks very much, Kevin. You're an inspiration. There's also another gentleman by the name of Chad Lehman, who attempted to take his own life as well, and I came across his site on Facebook, Strength in Numbers. That's another group which I follow, and I read his story, and that was another inspiration. And all 3 of these gentlemen have inspired me to make this video and to talk about mental health and suicide prevention. So all I ask is that everyone tries to end the stigma, tries to end the taboo of talking about mental health, doesn't feel any shame about it, doesn't feel embarrassed, ashamed or embarrassed about it. They talk about it openly, and they get the message out there that it is okay to talk, that there is strength in numbers. So please do, and remember, it's okay not to be okay. That was another group as well that I found on Facebook, set up by a young lady who sadly lost her brother on the 15th of May last year. That group is an inspirational group as well. That has helped me in my recovery and helped me learn to realise that there is nothing to be ashamed of. I know I'm rattling on here and I know I'm making no sense whatsoever. And this is normal for me. Anyone that knows me will tell you that I can't shut up. I don't shut up. I'm constantly talking. But over the last year, I have found it very, very hard to talk. I keep telling people that it's okay to talk and they should talk about their problems and be open. But I've not done that. Well, I've done that very rarely, I should say. It's taken a hell of a lot for me to talk. And it's taken a hell of a lot for me to be sitting here in front of this camera now, talking about it. But please, everyone, don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Don't let the stigma of mental health hold you back. There is no stigma. There is no embarrassment. I know there's certain celebrities out there that have gone round saying we should man up and all this type of thing. And yeah, they're entitled to that opinion, and I don't hold anything against them. And they have been receiving a lot of abuse on Twitter, which I don't agree with. And yes, that is you, Piers Morgan. Please, Piers, if you could, invite Luke Hambler onto your show. Talk to him. He's a very intelligent young man. He's a very knowledgeable young man. He's suffered a lot himself, not only with the loss of his brother-in-law, but also he's suffered during his school days. So please invite him onto your show. Talk to him. Right? Let him explain to you about the It's Okay to Talk hashtag and the Andy's Man Club, and you'll realise that manning up isn't just about having a stiff upper lip and being stoical. Manning up is also about talking, opening up, right? Being open with your feelings and your emotions. Yes, it is okay for boys to cry. Right? I have shed more than a few tears in this last 12 months. I'm not ashamed to say that. Right? Man, there's been some very, very dark times as well in this last 12 months, as well as taking or attempting to take my own life. Thankfully, not being successful at it, I've also started self-harming. I've started to cut myself. I thought that I could manage my depression and my PTSD and the suicide ideation through positive thoughts and mindfulness. That's the word I'm looking for. That has not been the case. I have had to go to my doctors, my GP, and I have had to start taking antidepressants, which was a very, very big step for me, because after my suicide attempt, I didn't want to go anywhere near another tablet, and I haven't. I've stayed well clear of paracetamol, well clear of ibuprofen. I've also stopped drinking as well, which has had some added health benefits. I've lost my beer belly, although I'm still trying to get rid of the last remnants of it. So I have become a lot slimmer. I've lost I've lost over a stone in weight, which has been good. My camera keeps pausing, sorry about that, I do apologise. So yeah, so I am now on antidepressant medication, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of who knows. Why should I be? Like, as people say, as we say, if you break your leg, suffer a heart complaint, have diabetes, any other, many plethora of medical conditions, you go to the doctors, you get medication for it. You don't hide it. You don't hide the fact that you've got diabetes. Right? You take tablets for it, you take insulin for it. So I'm not going to hide the fact that I take antidepressants. Right? That doesn't make me a weaker person. Far from it. The fact that I'm now taking a tablet a day for my mental health issue, my mental health condition, right, makes me a stronger person. It means that I've accepted that there is a chemical imbalance within my brain, and I've gone to see the GP, gone to see the doctor, and get the tools necessary to fight this condition. Whether I'll be on medication for the rest of my life, I don't know. Only time will tell. As it stands at the moment, I hope I am, because I don't know if I can keep the darkness at bay without the help of medication. But then again, I hope I'm not. But who knows? Who knows? Only time will tell. Time's got the answer to that. So yeah, so that's my story. That's the reason for me posting this video. That's for me wanting to promote mental health awareness in the month of May. Sorry if I've bored everyone to death. Yes, I have got a dark sense of humour, a black sense of humour, so which does make some people uncomfortable, because there are times, not all the time, but there are times when I will joke about my self-harming and my suicide attempt, because that's my coping mechanism at the end of the day. That's how I cope. Although I do realise that for some people that they find that uncomfortable and they don't like to joke about it, and at those times I won't joke about it. I won't make light of it, and in general I won't make light of it anyway, because it's a very serious issue. It's only with people that I know are comfortable with me joking about it. Otherwise, I will be extremely serious about it and level-headed. So yeah, that's me. That's the reason why I'm promoting mental health awareness week, or month, sorry. Yep, senility is creeping in. I am getting old, soon to be 47. So yeah, that's it. So for everyone out there, remember, it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to talk. There is strength in numbers. And for you, Chad Layman, I've got your 6. It's okay to talk, everyone.